Well, hello guys, how are you? We're in the second part of the video, and we're going to discuss something really short about orality, but something that is really important. And it is orality in writing. This seems to be a little bit contradictory, right? Because supposedly we have determined certain things about orality, such as that is natural, that it's simultaneous, that, well, a lot of different things, and apparently something that is opposite to orality is writing, right? Nevertheless, there are many different ways in which we can use orality in writing. Yes, we can use and I mean, we can, and sometimes we do without noticing. Use orality in our writing. We use certain characteristics of such type of discourse into our written reproduction of words, right? So first of all, let's say that the punctuation marks are usually uh, reproduction or simulation of orality in writing, right? So think about a question mark and how you either mentally or when you're reading aloud, you alter your pronunciation. You alter the way you say a word. Yes, the stress or the intonation, right? It's not the same saying you are okay that you're okay, or are you okay, right? These punctuation marks are always sort of give us a possibility of reproduce either in the let's say mental reading of a particular text, or maybe even in if you're reading aloud, so it's going to be even more noticeable, right? Same for exclamation marks, right? So if with the question marks we are changing our stress and our intonation, is going to happen the same. Even our tone of voice tend to be louder, right? And well, our facial expressions may be different. Well, different things, right? So that is another way. Something that maybe not so notorious, but nevertheless is there, are some other question marks. So some other punctuation marks, right? Such as the comma. So comma is there, of course, to separate certain senses, but also to give us a breath, right? I think I remember this exercise when I was with some of you in composition, and I asked somebody to read just straight without any pause, and it was almost impossible, right? After the second or third sentence, the person was already a little bit out of breath. So these commas are going to help us doing that, right? And that is a simulation of the oral discourse. Also, for example, the colons or the semicolons. Normally, when you're going to announce something that is after those, you make a little pause, like even sometimes it is dramatic, right? Like, and I went with the following friends: Andres, Carlos, Camilo, etc. Right? So you make a little pause over there in order to mention uh, a list that follows or something like that, right? And same for let's say parentheses or brackets. Again, normally they are supposed to be there if you add something additional. Yes, something like and Adriana, parenthesis, who is my sister, you close. Your discourse changes over there, right? And well, we have all these different things that are going to reproduce the oral discourse into the writing. Well, if we take a look at the next example, we will see social networks. Uh, there are a lot of different things why social networks, meaning Facebook or WhatsApp or let's say even Instagram, that is a little bit more about pictures, right? They tend to reproduce the oral discourse. Um, for example, when you write a post on Facebook, normally it is immediate, right? And then we have the possibility of other people commenting or posting some different comments after that. And you even have the possibility of knowing the date and the hour in which that was written. And if we have enough people or enough interventions, this thing is going to simulate exactly the same, well, not exactly, but pretty much the same way that a regular conversation. Yes? We have the possibility of people like writing over there, and you have like the somehow the chance to analyze the whole conversation. The communication is simultaneous. I mean, if both of them are connected at the same time and are interested into following the conversation, well, they can do it in a simultaneous way, in an immediate way. Same happen probably most naturally with WhatsApp. This is basically the simulation of a conversation. You have the people over there. I mean, if you answer, if you reply immediately, so it's going to be an immediate communication. You have all these different things. It is written, right? It is not done by natural means, usually, but there is a lot of orality in this writing. Also, and this will include also like the text messages, unless you are a person who really cares about this, or if you're talking to somebody important, most of the people, 80% of the people, 90% of the people couldn't care less or can care less about orthography, spelling, etc. Right? So many people omit, for example, if we're dealing with that in Spanish, like accents or capital letters, or sometimes even punctuation marks, right? And the reproduction of the discourse is very oral, right? Sometimes we are repetitive, sometimes we don't use very elaborate words because of the informality of the mean, right? So that's a little bit what we can say about that. Social networks and text messages, they emulate, they sort of reproduce many of the characteristics of somehow the orality, right? Then we have, for example, transcriptions of slang. Yes, so if you are going to use certain vocabulary, certain words with a particular meaning or phrases, well, everything that has to do with slang. That reproduction into, for example, a novel, right? If you take a look at Huckleberry Finn, for example, the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, there are a lot of reproductions of the way slaves, African American people of the time who were in the novel turned into slaves, and there are reproductions of that. Yes, so we have a particular speech in which there are apparent grammar mistakes, and there are what we can call imperfections in the language, but they are transcribed in exactly the same way that we would listen to them orally, right? And this is only an example. You can have a lot of different novels, tales in which we can sort of reproduce this language or this way of orality. Even when you are using contractions sometimes, yes, your, his, ain't, cause, right, instead of because, All of those are reproductions of the orality, right? It is like so common that even we are told not to use that in written language, right? Let's say if you're going to write an essay or something formal for the university, for a paper or something like that, you're not supposed to use these contractions. Why? Because they seem to be pretty informal, something that you might find only on this sort of communications. And then, well, we have a lot of different moments or cases in which we can find reproductions of conversations, phone calls, TV news, etc. Right? These conversations and phone calls are pretty common on the minutes for legal processes. Yes, when there is a judgment, or we're talking about evidence by lawyers, attorneys, or some other things. So it's pretty common that we have documents that have transcriptions of these conversations, of these phone calls, or any other modality of oral discourse that was, well, eminently oral, and that requires to be transcribed. And if the person made a mistake, or made a repetition, or hesitated and stopped, or did all the time like I do, like well, normally it is transcribed that way, right? So this reproduction of orality into a text, it's something pretty common, right? Now we also have sometimes when we are quoting TV news, TV anchors, or things like that. That is another possibility of doing it that way. So as you can see, there is a lot of different ways in which orality may find its way into writing. Sometimes it is by mistake, sometimes it is by chance, some other cases is deliberately, intentionally done. And that is an essential part of what we normally wouldn't find in writing, orality, no? So it's good that you sort of be able to check this possibility of one discourse mixing with another one. Yes, so when we discuss writing, we will see that there's going to be some other ways in which orality can get mixed into the writing, and vice versa, right? Very well, guys. So with this, we are done for the week, right? As you notice, I had only 2 videos for this week, which might seem a little bit short to you. Nevertheless, this particular week has a lot of practice. Yes, we already have the assignment number 1 that is not short. Yes, the one from analyzing the speaking for all these different texts. And then we also had the assignment number 2 that was the one about finding the role of orality in these different categories. That again, that one is a little bit shorter. And then we have a third assignment. Okay, so I am not going to reproduce any more videos because I am aware that even though you have like 8 hours watching the videos, that is going to add about an hour or so. And also doing the assignments is going to take you enough time. Okay, so for this week, I'm going to leave it like that with this third assignment that I'm going to explain to you right now. And hopefully you have enough time. Yes, the balance between the assignments that are required for this part and the theoretical videos. I really hope that you can make use of the hours of class that we normally have in order to be able to complete this. Okay, so we're going to do this these three activities, we're going to do this in maximum in couples. I mean, two people. If you want to do that individually, that's fine. But if you're going to do this in groups, so please do it in groups of maximum two people. You already know like the rules or the procedure in order to work collectively, and it's exactly the same that I have addressed for the two previous activities, and it's that you have to upload individually the same file, right? So let's go to the slide number 32, and we're going to find this over here, okay? So first of all, we are going to do this. Write a random sentence of at least 10 words. Okay, this is simple enough, right? Something that you're going to be able to do this like in a really easy way. Any random sentence about anything you want, about anything you like, anything. Okay, we're going to just do that. Write a random sentence of at least 10 words. Okay. That will be the first. Then the second, you're going to write a Facebook status. So imagine that you're on Facebook, right? And you're going to write your status. Anything. Yes, you can write anything. You can write about this current moment. You can write about anything personal, about something of, current tenses. You're going, whatever you want. Yes, so imagine that you're on Facebook and you're going to just write that. The only rule is that it must be something written. Yes, for now it's not going to be a picture, but that's it. As long as you want. Yes, so it can be a phrase, a sentence, or it can be a paragraph. It's up to you. Okay, very well. So that will be the second one. Now, so in that file, we're going to write a second Facebook status. The next one that you're going to do is to write a text message to somebody. I know that this may be very strange to you. I don't know if you have done this at all, because I know that many of you have that option in your cell phone, that it may be a mystery for some of you. Some of you are really young, so probably you never sent a text message, or if you did, it was only for, I don't know, subscribing or unsubscribing to an app or to a contest, or I don't know, something like that. Well, you're going to imagine that you're going to send a text message to somebody. You decide who, your mom, a friend, a colleague, whatever. And that's it. And you're going to imagine that you have no internet connection, that you don't have emojis, or that you don't have voice notes or anything like that. I know, I'm aware that these days you are able to attach emojis, or you are able to attach even photographs, sometimes some other additional files into the text message. But for now, you're just going to do that. Imagine that you're going to write a text message for a person. And finally, I want to clarify, because I had a little mistake over there in the slide. It says, talk for 15 minutes to your classmate, okay? So first of all, it is not 15 minutes. Normally, when I do these activities in the classroom, I just give about 5 minutes, okay? But then, taking into account right now that you don't have many options, yes, so we're going to change a little bit the dynamics, okay? First of all, we're going to do it for 1 minute, okay? Only 1 minute. If you don't reach the minute, yes, if you have only, I don't know, 30 seconds or 40 seconds, that's fine, okay? That's just fine. You don't have to speak for the whole minute. Then, it doesn't need to be your classmate, okay? So it can be, if you want, sure, like if you're able to have the contact with that person, with a classmate, it might be fine. But if you prefer, you can do it with your mom, with anybody who is at home at this moment, with your brother, sister, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, okay? So you can select any person that you prefer, and you can do it personally, face to face, or if you prefer, what you can do is to send a voice note or something like that. That is also valid. Okay. So this is it. Okay, you're going to talk to the other person, and you're going to write a short literal transcript of a couple of literal sentences that he or she said. Okay. Remember, you're going to engage into a conversation with the other person, and you're going to transcript that. Yes, you're going to make a literal translation of that. So imagine that you're going to start a conversation when you say, bueno, listo, entonces, ¿qué me cuenta? Ay, no, espere, said the other person. Well, so you're going to write, ay, no, espere, right? No escriba eso. No escriba eso. So try to make it as natural as possible, okay? Don't let the person, or don't give the person room to prepare anything. Just engage in any sort of conversation. Ask any question that comes to your mind, if it's crazy, if it's funny, whatever. And you can do it in whatever language you want or know, right? So you can do it in English, you can do it in Spanish. If you know French, we'll do it in French or any other language, okay? Let's say that the important thing over here is to be able to capture the orality, yes? And the orality doesn't have preparation, doesn't have, it comes naturally, it includes interjections, yeah? So if the person says, so you write, as best as you can, no? And all these different things. Hopefully this can be a little bit funny. Let's see how it happens, okay? Finally, there is an important rule over there, and it's that in this exercise, you are going to completely omit punctuation, okay? So you're not going to write commas, you're not going to write periods, exclamation marks. Even if it's a question, please do not include the question mark. You're going to omit all that, okay? So hopefully it is clear enough, and this will be the assignment number 3 and final for this week, okay? I consider it is enough, time. I know that 3 assignments may seem a lot, but then you have only, as I mentioned before, about an hour of video to watch, and everything else will be practice, okay? I think that even if it's 3 assignments, you will be able to do it in the time that you have. Hopefully you don't have much trouble, especially because many of these works or reports can be done collectively, okay? So that's it, guys. Remember all these different channels of communication that you have. If you require advisory, if you require something additional to do, so please let me know. Use my WhatsApp, use my the inbox in Edmodo, or any of the other things, okay? And I'll be here available for you. So good luck with this activity. Have fun. Thank you very much, and hugs. Bye bye.